Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the chat show. I just want to make sure I'm not muted. Welcome to the chat show. Very unique and a different day today. And we have also, I would say, very special guest in today's segment. We talk about in the chat show, we talk about empathy, employment, and innovation every Wednesday afternoon, and where we bring in a lot of great innovators and leaders from the staffing industry and disability community. And in today's show, our special guest is Paula Ratliff. She's a senior vice president at ManpowerGroup North America. She drives the strategy for the top sales leaders to provide innovative workforce and the total talent management solution through companies' full suite of brands, Manpower Group solutions, Right Management, Express, and Manpower. With that, Paula, welcome to the chat show, and thank you for joining us today on a very
Thank
special day.
Yeah, what a great day. What an honor to be with you of all days, Nish. I'm so grateful. I was sharing with him that my social media was blowing up this morning with every female that I've had the pleasure to work with and that I call great mentors of mine were posting about wearing their pearls and their chucks in support of Madam Kamala Harris today and the inauguration. So while that's on the top of everyone's mind, I just want you to know I am wearing the pearls, but unfortunately, I don't own a pair of Chucks. True confessions. So it's definitely on my list for the next birthday or maybe even Valentine's Day because I definitely want to keep supporting this amazing woman.
Paula, let me tell you, when you mentioned this, I'm still having chills in my body. It is really, pleasure to have you on in today's segment. And as and for the viewers, that as a global leader, your contribution to the staffing industry is just amazing. Your knowledge, your experience, your passion. So tell us a little bit about your role and of course your contribution to the staffing industry and what you've been doing for these amazing years at Manpower and overall in your professional career.
Yeah, so I've spent the last 21 years at Manpower Group, and it's been an amazing journey in my career. Most of those years, I got to take on a new challenge every 2 or 3 years. And prior to the job I'm in today, I spent the last 6 years working in our global organization with supporting sales across 72 countries and driving cultural alignment to our clients so that the clients had a great global governance model across the globe with Manpower Group and across all of our brands. And of course, those of you who may know her, Becky Frankowitz, joined as our president at Manpower Group about 3 years ago. And the opportunity, staying with our female theme, to follow a female leader in our organization was just too tempting for me. So I left the global organization about a year and a half ago to come back into our North American organization, reporting to Ron Needham and into Becky Frankowitz, and support the journey of our North American organization. So in my role today, I still support our largest clients, many of which are global, but I drive our North American strategy across our brands. So Right Management, Total Talent Solutions under Talent Solutions Organization, along with Experis and Manpower, and last but not least, probably the least known brand though, Jefferson Wells, which is our finance sector. So I represent all the brands with our clients. And then the last hat that I wear at Manpower Group, which is what gave me the wonderful opportunity to meet you and work with your organization, is I've been a passionate partner and volunteer for supplier diversity at Manpower Group for the last 15 years. And you and I joke about this, but one of the things that I love to tell people, Kathy Greco started our supplier diversity initiatives at ManpowerGroup, and she tapped me as an individual contributor in sales and said, why don't you please come get involved? I could use a great mentor with some of our suppliers. Would you be interested? And I said, sure, I'd love to learn about it. But it has been such a joy, and I can tell you I've learned so much more from working with the entrepreneurs in supplier diversity than I think I've ever had the opportunity to contribute back to them. They've taught me a lot, both professionally and personally. And so many women leaders in the women-owned businesses in our supplier diversity group, and diversity-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses. That's been a real joy throughout my career to contribute to both our clients in partnership with many of you, and then also just the personal growth that I've had to work and learn with you.
So let me tell you, our experience as a supplier of supplier diversity team at ManpowerGroup has been just amazing. And this is the place or event which we always, every year, we look forward, because that's where we learn about the future, what happened last year and how the future looks like. Because as a small organization, some of the information which ManpowerGroup as a global leader, what you have and you and your team have access to, or has access to the information which we always look forward. So I'm really looking forward for this conversation and looking forward for some latest and greatest data. But before we get into that, as a woman leader, we touched a little bit woman leader, and as we all know, women are really breaking the glass ceiling in the workplace. And today we witness the history, as Kamala Harris has sworn in as a first African American with South Asian heritage. Last year we faced a lot of challenges because of the pandemic. How were you women employees impacted during COVID-19? And how do you see the future at workplace for women?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we've done a couple of panels, and data shows that women were far more impacted, probably from the social and the economic impact than men during the COVID crisis. And when you think about and you survey men and women in their excitement to go back to a new normal and back to work, men are far greater leaning in and ready to go back. Like greater than 60% of them are eager to go back to work. And when you ask the same question of women, it's less than 35%. And partially that's because during this crisis, and you and I joked about it in a couple of preparations, from home, all workers are being asked to be teachers and taking care of family members at home. And so a lot of us are taking on additional responsibilities in juggling and balancing work-life balance. And because of that, we're seeing a trend for one life. So especially females, they're looking for this one life in their future and flexibility in the workforce. And when you look at women that are thinking about going back, and you think about the challenges that they've had, and because schools have still not consistently opened, they're still juggling responsibilities between childcare and perhaps taking care of their parents. And most of the household chores in America are still led by females in their homes. So the statistics, especially those with children and the age group, those women are looking for this one life balance. And I believe they're going to change the workforce for the better. But if you think about statistics, family has become a top priority for all workers. So if you prioritize and you look at how they've had to shift their responsibilities during the pandemic, when we analyze the data and we look at the percentages, 61% of Gen Xers say it is a top priority to balance their family life with their work life when we go back to work as normal. 71% of the millennials say it's a priority, 76 of Gen Xers, and 68% of boomers. Those are all US figures, but we've seen that the impact is global, right? So women have taken this impact and they're pushing for a one life strategy in the workforce so that they can have more flexibility to drive work and continue to be productive. And they've proven their productivity throughout this year, and companies are taking notice. So we're working with millions of clients across the globe, and certainly thousands of clients in the US. And we're helping them look at 2021 and beyond and how to do traditional work in an untraditional way. One really good example that's probably the most dramatic for us in me personally that I've had my hands in is the gaming industry. And that industry has been so secretive, and we've always had to do lockdown and special locations and security around that work. But because it's so essential, and coming into the Christmas market, it became more essential, and that business was definitely on the rise. We worked with many of our clients in that space to ensure that we could find a safe way for employees to work from home and yet be able to handle the security and the safety of the employees balanced with the security of the data and the test work that we were doing. So it can be done in even the most challenging of environments. And the nice thing is clients are looking for ways to be more flexible with their employees. And we see that as a trend that's going to continue into the future.
Yeah, that is so powerful. As you just last piece you mentioned that employees are now more flexible. They have recognized because everyone has experienced this, right? That's the this the part of this pandemic is truly is global, and everyone has personal level has experienced this. So now people are more understanding. The employers are more. So tell us, what are the other different acceptance or changes you have seen in the from the employer standpoint, where as a workforce solution expert, when you talk to them, any other changes you have seen or experienced in last few months?
Yeah, and it's really been since March. But for the first time, in a broader scale, I will say our Talent Solutions organization was really in front of this years ago when they started getting employers to collaborate, and maybe 4 employers would bring together a permanent opportunity, but use seasonal work where each used a worker for maybe 3 months. It was a Work My Way program that we launched, and some companies were very interested in partnering with other companies to make that successful for the employee, right? So that they could have a permanent opportunity versus like 4 different contract works.
Right.
So we saw that, years ago, but now we're seeing employers lean in and be far more collaborative with one another and really partner in a way that we had not seen in the past. One that's not a client of mine, but I did have a friend go through this experience. He was a flight attendant for American Airlines. And of course, their industry was hit really heavily with COVID. And one of the opportunities that American reached out was with Amazon. We saw a surge in e-commerce, any of your distribution logistics, they were on fire. So American Airlines reached across to Amazon and said, how can we partner for our workers that we need to put on furlough, and during this period of time, how can we build a partnership to utilize the workforce? And that's exactly what they did. So my friends went and did 3 or 4 months at Amazon during their peak season, working in a distribution center. He loved the opportunity. It was still working with people. He got to be an essential worker in that organization, doing, showing up every day, working 12-hour days, very different from the airlines. But I think that's one of the innovations that I'm seeing is We reached out to hospitality suppliers or hospitality clients when we knew their supply was also going to be, unfortunate and have to lay off many workers, so that we could try to find employment for the other surging industries that we saw that were in need of workers desperately. So trying to marry companies and have them, I called it a broker of partners and companies in a way that we haven't done before. Typically, we are seen as an employment expert, but we're not seen as one who brings companies together to be innovative and plan differently around talent. And I do think you're going to continue to see that in the future, whereas there are surges and demands in talent, you'll see companies partner in a unique, new, innovative way in the future.
See, that is so powerful, and that's what I personally love about our profession and the industry, right? We keep our eyes and ears busy learning from both sides, from the employer side and all the different generations, 5 generations, how they are thinking and prioritizing family as a priority. Now we are learning from both sides, and it's our role to how do we build and innovate and be a connector between this to stakeholders or parties. So it is beautiful, and thank you for sharing a lot of great data and the trend that both sides are really changing, and that pandemic has really brought, I would say, both sides more closer. And in our case, when we see that as a matchmaker, or what do you call matchmaker, right? That's our, like, in a very simple language. And so that's, we see that benefit. Of course, there are a lot of impacts and effect on the employment side. So changing the gears a little bit, how will 2021 be in terms of employment? Where what are the early indicators according to the Manpower Group records and some of the statistics and research data which you can share with us?
Yeah. So the jobs report wasn't as favorable as we would have liked to have seen. We were thinking that it was going to be more favorable, and we were seeing early indicators. I do think it's just a minor drop. There are still 10 million opportunities and jobs in the marketplace today. We're seeing them in the drivers in three primary categories. The first one is, moving things. So I talked about distribution, logistics. That's a big area that we see continuing to grow. And the second one is really helping people. So think medical, life sciences, and health type companies. And then the third bucket is really transforming business. So it's about sales and business development and IT, making sure that we have infrastructure to support remote working, which we don't see as a trend that's going away. So those industry sectors are all continuing to grow. We think they're growing for three primary driver reasons, and that's really about the rise in e-commerce. We don't see that slowing down at all. That continues to be really, booming, actually. I know I've never been one that was a shopper online, but now Amazon comes at least once or twice a week. And the same with groceries. We've been probably more conservative and cautious than many of our friends, but we haven't been shopping other than through online shopping networks. So we're seeing jobs follow that same area, where we did see them in retail jobs, and now they're really moving over to more e-commerce type jobs. And the retail area still, in traditional retail, taking a significant hit, right? So that was part of our jobs indicators. We saw that areas like California, New York, Texas, their retail markets were still really taking a significant hit. But the uptick that we're seeing is definitely in that e-commerce, logistics, transportation, even clerks, like where we would traditionally see them in a retail environment. They're still in demand, but they're in demand in a different way. In the grocery store, in the pharmacy, customer service agents, still in demand, but working from home, working remotely versus in a physical location. The second driver that we see is In the professional services, we say it's gone from in demand to just in case. And that's
Mhm.
really more about, we talk to thousands of employees, and the most important thing for them is being in a safe environment and still having opportunities to, have an office or a place that they can still produce for their family. Even if it's at home, they need that ability to be a earner for their family. And so when they're balancing those things, companies are seeing a growing demand for medical jobs, for the safety, cybersecurity jobs, for just in case to ensure their infrastructure is stable and secure, and then other risk type roles for preparedness. All of those things continue to see positive trends. And then the last is rise in remote flexible work jobs. We talked about that. And we continue to see companies that are looking at that as their new normal, looking at how the future of work in their organizations will completely change. But one of the statistics that interests me the most is we're seeing really heavy concentrated demand. So think about this. We're always looking at data, and the Gartner data is we always look at like the top 20 jobs. What are the top 20 jobs? Well, interestingly, the data this time, those top 20 jobs are actually 50% of that 10 million jobs that are available in the marketplace. That's
Hmm.
an unparalleled number. On average, the top 20 jobs in the years past have represented about 28% of the available jobs in the market. So, this concentration of demand in those specific categories that I outlined for you, that's really driving 20, if you think about it, 20 of the top jobs are driving 50% of the total demand for talent. So, it's a different market than we've ever seen from a demand perspective due to that type of concentration swinging so drastically to those 20 types of jobs.
Wow, that is just amazing and very intriguing data. Um, and in some case, my other part of the brain is saying, wait, we talk about employment for everyone, and that is kind of scary also. That and so why do you think that some concentrated because of the growth in some concentrated industries and growth in like e-commerce, as and I'll ask you, I'll let you answer that question. Just one thought came to my mind, that e-commerce, it makes sense. Like we used to say, hey, if my dog is barking, we used to say, oh, must be a mailman. Now I've started hearing, oh, must be the Amazon delivery guy. So that's how this whole mindset and that society has changed.
Yeah.
But tell us why is that, and how can we expand that to and go back to 28% from 50%, because that's what we as a whole as a society we need that. But of course business needs are the needs, as they always say, customer is always right, customer needs are the priority. But share your thoughts, what do you think, and how is it
Yeah.
going to change?
Well, we kind of got ahead of that at Manpower Group. We've been very heavily focused on gaps in talent and where is the need versus where is the existing talent. And I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but there's certainly a gap in future jobs versus current jobs. And now that may have been turned a little on its ear, but if you think about just the concept, we feel in our industry, it is our obligation to continue to focus on upskilling or right
Mhm.
skilling talent or reskilling them completely. So I think that's where we've got to focus, is finding opportunities for workers to reskill themselves. If the jobs that they are used to doing in the past are going away, let's find them opportunities where the job is transferable. But if it's not at the right wage that they're looking to earn, or they have desires to move up to these in-demand skills, then let's find opportunities to upskill talent or reskill that talent so that they can learn while they're working. We offer a great opportunity at Manpower ManpowerGroup through my path. We make sure that everyone has education available to them as long as they're working a current job. So I think you're going to see that trend. And it's not always going to be the traditional education of, a college degree necessarily. It could be education in more of the skilled trades, or education in transfer of skills into higher level logistics jobs that require some, computer skills that traditionally, if they were a picker packer, they didn't have those. But if skills in the distribution and logistics area are going to evolve and be more technical with the use of AI and technology and robotics, then we just need to upskill that talent so that they can continue to drive their career for higher earning opportunities. So I think the onus is going to be on our industry, on the new administration, to continue to have a focus to upskill, reskill, talent to ensure that as a country we continue in the U.S. to fill the demand of future jobs and be ready and try to stay ahead of what the trends say those future jobs are going to be.
Oh, that is amazing. So Paul, I heard that you mentioned that some of the amazing strategy and work Manpower Group and all other staffing companies, we all as an industry are putting the efforts. How do you see employers also, because it's all collaboration and partnership, right? What we can do is we can help and strategize and help the employers. But how do you see them contributing to this, as we are now all working towards recovery of the economy and social economy also? So how do you see that trend?
Yeah, I think, I'm not an economist, so I'll leave that work to them. But some of the things that we're hearing and seeing in all the clients that we talk to, and our employees as well, they are eager to improve their skills. And our
Mhm.
customers are definitely looking to stay ahead of the skills trend. So we're seeing new innovations come with technologies out there that are comparing the upskilling, so talent that wants to invest in their future skills. We're seeing assessments come up for as a priority for employers to assess not just people's current skills, but their learnability. Like, what is their quotient? Do they want to be a continuous learner? Because we're finding that that's a skill set that's absolutely needed for the future. We need people that have a curiosity measure. They are really curious about new types of work, new ways of doing things. And that in itself is an indicator that that person is probably worth investing for future skills. So assessments on the front end, we're seeing a lot of investment there. We're seeing investments in training, technology partners, colleges, universities, even skill gap short education is hot right now, and any of the providers we're partnering with a lot of technical partners that come in and do 9 week programs to help make a bridge to technologies that are emerging. We're also seeing, unlike we've ever seen, a lot of old technologies, and we need that expertise. I'm not going to go
Mhm.
back all the way to cobalt, but a lot of early technologies are
Yeah.
needed to help rebuild and stabilize infrastructure within organizations. So IT is hot today, and it's hot not just for future skills, but even older technologies. They're looking for talent that has that knowledge to help them rebuild and stabilize infrastructure within their organizations, and older technologies as an example. So I think it's all those categories. And then they're also looking for great technology that can marry, okay, here's the skill base that I have for my current employees. Here are
Mhm.
the jobs that I have open. There are technologies in the market where we can start to scrape data from
Mhm.
contract opportunities within an organization, from permanent CRM opportunities in an organization, even cloud platform technologies and gig economy type work. If companies are using that as a platform, we can pull data from all of that. Tell a company, here's where your skills are today in your workforce. Here's the company population that are actually investing in future skills. And here's your fill the gap that you have to meet the demand of the current jobs you have, and even the more futuristic components of the gig work that you have in your cloud platforms. So we're seeing clients invest in pretty sophisticated technologies to help them close that gap and have a clear understanding on where they need to continue to upskill their talent to meet the demands of their production or their, end client demands as well.
This is so amazing. So what I'm hearing is that as a staffing industry, and when we take this consultative approach when we serve our customers, it's very important for us to learn and capture certain information from the market, understand their environment, and help them prepare for the future, so that they are successful. When they are successful, we are successful. So thank you so much for sharing this amazing knowledge. Before we conclude, we have, I think, few more minutes. But before I conclude, I would really like to ask you this one question, which is, it's connected to myself personally, myself, Hetal, and everyone at Rangam. Diversity inclusion, disability inclusion. Tell us, how do you see that future, and how companies have started looking at diversity more seriously, or and disability, if you can, as part of the diversity?
Yeah, it's a great question. And of course, my clients that I have the pleasure of working with in North America are our largest clients. Many of them are global. So this is one of their top initiatives. It is a top priority. Some of the social unrest that we've had for the past year has definitely catapulted discussions around diversity and inclusion to the forefront. And even our organization, we have taken so many new initiatives to ensure an inclusive and safe environment so that people can share ideas in a very open way. Our talent solutions group has now come forward. We built a solution. In the past, we talked a lot with clients in consulting around how to ensure they had a inclusion strategy to make sure that diversity was a part of their succession plans and their strategies around total talent management. Now we actually have a solution that we can come to the table, and if they are struggling to meet their objectives in that space, we now can bring them a solution that's tangible and help them achieve those goals. Because many clients were telling us, we have the platforms, we have the building blocks, we have all the right strategies, but we are having a failure to execute on those strategies. It's just not working. Can you come and help us? And now we did build a solution to bring to clients to help them achieve those goals. So it continues to be one of the hottest topics with most of our top clients. And I will say, supplier diversity, in addition to diversity and inclusion initiatives, continues to be a top driver as well. And it's really no different than 15 years ago, Nish, when we started this. The passion for many of our clients was, if you upskill and you elevate other vendors within the staffing industry, it elevates your industry as a whole. Our CEO shared that with me, and I continue to carry it every day. But I also think about our companies that we work with are passionate about bringing diverse workforce, also in the contractor space. So we partner with our diversity partners to ensure that we're bringing diverse talent along with our diverse partners into the mix, so that they not only get the value of a diverse procurement angle, but it also contributes to the diversity of their contractor population through supplier diversity within the staffing industry. So I
Paula,
think it's going to continue to be one of our top priorities, and certainly top priorities of our clients.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Paula, and really appreciate your time. We went over. I apologize by a few minutes, but I wish I was able to continue further. But it has been pleasure talking to you. A lot of learning. So thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing amazing data and statistics, and the future, your futuristic view, sharing your views on how the staffing industry and the employment space is evolving. So thank you for all the great information.
I have one shameless plug, and we released recently our Talent Solutions team released the Total Workforce Index. You can find that on
Yes.
my social media page. It's a very unique report. It actually is one of the best in the globe around how to source, hire, retain talent, both contingent labor and permanent labor. And I will make sure that's out and available for anybody following you or following me after our call today. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. If I may ask, what is that is for employers? If you can tell us a little bit, like 30 seconds, a little bit about that index.
Well, it's all about like looking at the things that are priorities for your company, and you can choose those 6 levers of what are the most critical hiring levers for your organization. And then when you look at the index, it'll by prioritization. It's about labor laws across the globe. It's about bias and different things. When you look at pay parity, there's all these triggers that you can determine and figure out, what you need to do to help even by geography, source the best talent, hire that talent and retain that talent even by skill across the globe.
Excellent, excellent. And we will share that link and that information on this event page for this LinkedIn Live. So Paula, again, thank you so much for all your time and doing amazing work for all the suppliers and all the job seekers all over the world. So thank you for all your service and contribution to the staffing industry. And thank you all the viewers for joining us today.
All right. Thanks so much.
We'll
Bye.
continue our conversation next Wednesday, same time at 2 o'clock. Till then, thank you. Take care and enjoy your rest of the week. Take care. Bye bye.